All right. Good morning from New York City. It's a cloudy morning here and getting colder. They even turned on the heat in my apartment. Welcome to Indie Hour. It's 11 a.m. here in New York, and every Friday at 11 a.m. I spend an hour talking about an indie video game, which means a video game made by without a publisher, without a big company that's trying to make loads of money from it in the beginning. It's just by basically a game made from passion by some developers who really like video games. And today I'm gonna play. And before I mention that, I should mention this music that's playing in the background is some waltzes that I found on archive.org by Chopin by this Brazilian composer called Antonio Barbosa. And I believe this is free music. I hope. Otherwise, you probably won't be able to hear any of this in the future because the algorithms that will be muting me because it'll say it's copyrighted. But according to archive.org, this is free music. I found it a while back. So hopefully the volume is okay. And right now I'm going to speak about the first ever computer game, which makes it, I guess, the first ever indie independent video game. It's a video game called Spacewar, and the title has the bang there, the exclamation point. Okay. And this game was programmed in assembly language, which means the lowest level coding language the computer can understand. It's just like, I think I'm not an expert in this, but I think it's like one step above the ones and zeros. Okay, or maybe it is the ones and zeros. I'm not sure. Maybe if someone can drop in and correct me here at some point, or in the future in the comments when I post this somewhere. And so this game was made at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology over in Boston, and it was made for this computer called the PDP-1, and this is early 1960s. This was like, I think, before the Cuban Missile Crisis, and before we went to the moon and all that stuff. And it was therefore a massive computer. It was like you had to like write the software, I think, in like paper, and then you had to type it in and punch it in the computer. I'm not sure. And they used this, I think, a radar scope to display this first ever computer game on the screen. And it was written by this man called Steve Russell in collaboration with Martin Gretz, Wayne Wiitanen, Bob Saunders, Steve Piner, and others. And these were some people over at MIT. And right now I'm going to play a version of Spacewar that it's running on an emulator of the PDP-1 computer, and this was made by I'm playing this online here. If you go to I'll put the link on the chat, so you can play it too. Okay, let me put the link on the chat right now, so that you can play yourself if you like. You can play several versions, not just the original 1962 one, from September 1962. And you can play this online. It's running an emulator, and which basically means it's making the computer behave as if it was a DEC PDP-1 computer from the early 60s. And we can play this in the browser, which is very nice. I'm going to start with this one. And this is made by this gentleman. I should credit him. You can see on the side on the link that this gentleman in Vienna, I believe, called Norbert Landsteiner, a very talented gentleman who put this together here that allowed me to play this. And so first we're going to play this one that I actually never played because I wasn't alive in 1961. Okay, I'm a late 70s child. And after we play this one, I am going to play the one that I did play in around 1986, 1987 with my friend Arthur, which also happens to be my first ever Twitch follower here. I've got in touch with him after many years, and I'm very happy about this. And we used to play this in his dad's computer, not the 1961 version, but the one I'll show you afterwards. But let's start with the 1961 version right here. And so I'm going to just click. Okay, so this one, there's no computers. You can only play with two human players. So there's no AI for me to fight against. And player one is the WASD key, which is interesting for me because WASD is like, if I show you my key, I don't know if I'm gonna knock something over, but I show you my Mac keyboard here. Let's see if I can do this. So WASD is like these keys here, on the keyboard. They're right there. I mean, you're familiar with this. If you use a keyboard and games. And those are the very classic, first-person shooter keys. So W usually forward, A is left, S is no, what A is left, D is right, and S is back. So it's interesting to me that all the way in 1961, in the first video game, this was already. Maybe this is where the convention was set, or I mean, it was set by the 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 convention of the keys on the keyboard. It's like we have the fingers here, so it makes sense that you keep like the middle finger on the W and S so you can go forward and backwards, and you use these two fingers next to it on the A and D so you can go left and right. In the case of Spacewar, okay, all right, let's do it. And there's a player two can play on the same keyboard, so they got I, J, K, L, so they can scoot over next to you and get on those other keys on the computer so we can all play together. So right now I'm by myself here, I don't have someone else to play with, and I don't think this has online functionality, so I'm just going to try to control both ships at the same time, or at least one at the same time. So first I'm going to press first key to start, and here we are. This is Spacewar, the first ever video game, coded on a PDP-1 in 1961 at the MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And this simulation of it is actually very cool because it simulates what a CRT display, a cathode ray tube display, how it would look on that display. You can see like a real one in the Computer History Museum. I believe it's in Seattle, a real working one of these. And if you're old enough to remember these computer, you didn't have flat screens back then. This was even earlier than that, but the earlier cathode ray tube displays, it's basically shooting these electrons, and there's a lot of latency, and these photons, or electrons, whatever you want to call them. And so there's a trail that's left on any images. You see the stars are twinkling, that's a very cool little feature there, but the spaceship leaves this trail, and this emulator here actually simulates that, which is a very cool feature here, okay? And it has this, it's two spaceships, and there's this star in the middle, which has a gravitational field. Okay, so you get attracted to it, you have to miss it, and then it just throws you around. And that's the main feature. You have two ships, and you can shoot. So S is thruster, A and D, you look around, and then W you shoot. Okay. And here I'm gonna try. Here you go. That's a good shot. Boom, and then I got the player 2 there. Okay, so there was a second player here. I'm actually controlling both ships right now. You would be able to see, you would be able to have a little fight here. Okay, and it's starting again. And the emulation speed, you can see, this is, I assume, the default, how it used to look back then. It's very slow, because, computers work very fast. But, and I think there's also, I can press Q to jump. I'm not sure where I would appear. Oh, there I am. Okay, so that's another feature. Q and U for the second player, you basically jump. So you jump from that part and you hide and you go to another part. So that's another way for you to, if you're about to get shot, you could basically disappear. And I don't think it's a cloak. I think it's a teleport. But let's try right now. I'm gonna cloak right here, and let's see. I'm not gonna touch anything. Let's see where will I appear afterwards. Okay, I appeared next to it. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that works. So you can see how slow the simulation is here. There are options that I can click here, and I can put, for example, double the speed so things move faster. Okay, so I'm doubling the speed of the PDP-1 emulation here, and now things are moving a little bit faster. It'll be a little bit more fun and to play. And I should mention, this game is still, after all these years, after wow, after 60 years. Okay. 1961, almost 60 years, it's still fun to play because there's the gravitational field of the star, and the fact that when you get to the edges of the screen and you cross over, it's kind of like asteroids. Basically, the arcade game Asteroids, which was a smash hit, basically took this idea, right? And when you reach the edge of the screen, you appear on the other edge. These things give a lot of strategy, a lot of strategic options for the game. So it's a fun two-player game, and it's difficult and interesting because it actually teaches you a little bit about orbital mechanics, like you're getting attracted to the star, and about motion in an intuitive manner by just like seeing things moving on the screen. So 1961, first ever video game, Spacewar at MIT. And I'm playing this really lovely little oh god one. Okay, lovely little emulation here that I put the link over at the on the chat there. All right, but this one here I'm playing by myself because there's no one else to control player 2, and there was no AI at that time, no artificially intelligent opponent for me to go after. Okay, so now I'm going to let me try to get one more kill. Let me try to blow up use the thinner ship to get the larger one. And this was before we landed on the moon, so it's interesting too. Like the people in the technology world were thinking about these things. You know, they were thinking about using math and software to control starships. And I'm not sure. I think MIT was instrumental in the moon landing, but I don't remember the history quite well yet. I have on my left here a book called Voices from the Moon that my mom gave me. It's by Andrew Chaikin of Victoria Cole, and it's basically interviews with the holo astronauts. Their talk about the moon landings, their words about the moon missions in their own words, with lovely images, lovely photographs from the Apollo archive that have not been that are rare. Not many people have seen them, I believe, because this gentleman, Andrew Chaikin, he spent a lot of time going through the archives and restoring some of the photos. So it's a recommended book. I like it very much. And all right, let's see. See, when you get close to the star, it models the gravitational field, so you spin. You get really fast and spins quickly. In these, if you want to play a modern game that simulates that a bit, you can play Elite Dangerous, like my friend Dom over in UK is playing. Some of my followers, Bad Mojo, Vicious, have been playing, and I played a bit yesterday. Maybe I'll play a bit more today to demonstrate how far we have come from the PDP-1 in 1961 here in Spacewar to the modern computer games, but still using many of the same basic controls. Okay, and so this is the version from 24 September 1962. On the top here of the screen, I can. If you go to the site and that link, you'll be able to see this. I can change. So, for example, I'm going to let's move to the 1962 Mixtron Hyperspace version, and let's see how that looks. Okay. I'm not sure if it changes much, or it's just like basically for completion's sake modeling a slightly different version of the game, a slightly different version of the computer that's looking about the same. All right, let's jump all the way to July 1963 RIM. Okay. All right, looking about the same. And now, okay, let's go to the one that the first version that I first played. Okay, so I'm gonna press a button here, and the original Spacewar is gonna disappear. Okay, I hope. 1 second. All right, there it goes. And now, all of a sudden, I fast forwarded to, I took a warped jump to about 1985 this game was made, but I was in Brazil at the time, so video games came to Brazil a bit later because, you know, someone would have to send them to someone who had a BBS, a bulletin board system in Brazil, or someone had to bring it in a disc, you know, a 5.25 inch floppy disk. And so games got there a little later. So I think it was 1986, 1987 that I played this game. I went to my friend Arthur's house, and this was really fun. This is, you can play against AI, which I'm gonna do in a bit, or you can play against a friend, a player. So before I go to the AI, I'm just gonna click on play, all right? And this one here is basically a version of Spacewar, but you can also not have the star with the gravitational field in the middle. That's an optional feature, and it's much faster. Lets you move around. You have S and E. I think one is fuel and the other one is nanophoton torpedoes, or one is shields and the other one is the amount of energy or photon torpedoes. I'm not sure. So you have like lasers, like phasers. If you get close, you can hold a W to cloak, so the other player doesn't see where you are. And when you do that, I think you use energy. Yeah, so E is energy down there. Okay, and I think S is shields. And then you can press E to fire a sort of photon torpedo thing, and you can fire several of them. Like that. Q is phasers. All right. Oh, and I don't know if your own photon torpedoes can hit your ship. They do, so you have to be careful. You can get hit happens, and another really cool thing about this is press Z, or was it X? X, you jump, so that's like a hyperspace jump, and it uses energy. You can see my E on the left side of the screen, my energy is used. This is the 1985 version of, it was I think the first ever version of Spacewar that was ported, was basically rewritten from the PDP-1 code, made into basically a new game of the same concepts and brought into IBM PC. I think it must have been a 286, maybe a 386 that I played, probably 286, I don't remember at this point. And, okay, let's see, I can see his shields are going down, fires some torpedoes, and boom, and you can see this really nice little graphics, okay. So this can be playable by 2 players on one computer. So let's now turn on for example, the planet. So you can press F5. And I'm running this on a software called a DOSBox. It's an emulation software, so you can emulate older games, and you can slow it down, because right now computers have really fast processors. There's many processors that move really fast. So if I was running this without slowing down, it would look more like this. Okay, I can increase the frame cycles here to show you on my emulator. It would be looking more like this. Okay, let me show you. Okay, that's not too bad. Wait, I can actually hit him, and if you hit see how fast that's moving. Okay, so if I hold a Control F11, I believe, I can slow down the cycles of the emulation. And let's go back to about 409 or something I had. Okay, and let's try again. Now I've turned on the planet, so there's a little planet there with a nice moon circling it. It looks like a Jupiter type of planet, and when you hit the other ship, it moves. It's really fun. Even years later, it's still a fun game. And it has AI. You can play against another computer, which is fun to be able to do when you don't have someone to play with, at home. And all right, so that's with the planet. Now let's turn on gravity to see if I press F6. Let's just do gravity without a planet. See how that looks. Okay, to play. So there's gravity now. There's sort of like a black hole in the middle of the screen, and it's pulling us both to this black hole. All right. Now I'm demonstrating the 1985 version of Spacewar, and I think we both have our own gravity. Maybe it's not the middle of the screen. Maybe it's we attract each other. Let's see. Let me try to get close here and see. I think it's the center of the screen. Let's see. Get a little bit further away here. Yeah, I believe it's still the center of the screen, okay, because everything has a gravitational field. So even if you're floating in space, you have a minute gravitational field. But look, it affects the photon torpedoes or missiles I'm firing. All right, you can jump. Awesome game. All right, so this is 1985. If I press this, and here we're back to 1961, the first version. Okay, just give you a demonstration of the same game with different ages. And this one thing that's interesting to compare these two versions here is that with since it's an emulation of a CRT monitor, and the other version that I showed for 1985 is not emulating a cathode ray tube monitor. It's just giving you the raw pixels on the screen. Alright, so it's much more. If you look at it, it's much more crisp and sharp pixels. Okay, but since this one is the older one, the original one from 1961, this emulator is emulating how you would see it in those types of displays. You can also see how, even though the graphics were just pixels and not sharp at all and very low resolution, what computer cathode ray tube displays do is they naturally almost give a sort of blur to the image, and sort of like natural, like a hardware anti-aliasing, if you will. It's and physical anti-aliasing because of the way the pixels are displayed on the screen, and so I'm curious to how it would be like to play some of these modern games today on a cathode ray tube monitor, because I haven't played one in ages. They weigh a ton, and the bigger they are, the heavier they are. So, but there was something that was lost, I think. Of course, so much gained with the efficiency and the energy efficiency and the clarity of the image, but sometimes I feel that there was something lost as well to move to flat screen displays. Alright, so let's go back to 1985. Let's try to fight back go forward to 1985, 96, 7, 86, 87. I don't remember which years that I played. And let's try to play an AI here. Okay, I'm gonna press F1. I'm gonna turn on robot R, which is robot on the right side. If I had someone to my right here, all right. I'm gonna turn off the gravity at first. Let's just keep it simple, and I'm gonna try to beat this AI. Okay, and there was no difficulty setting. I think it was just a standard. Maybe there's a way to increase the difficulty. I'm not sure, but I'm probably gonna lose anyway, no matter what happens. Okay, here we go. Play. All right. See if I still remember these keys after all this time. I mean, I obviously had to. Like look them up again. And the game very helpfully. It's a very nice introduction screen in this game because it very helpfully gives you the keys right in the introduction of the game. Okay, I'm getting my butt hit. Let's see. Ooh, watch out. It's very hard to hit him with the laser. He got me. Okay, I'm gonna try to make my goal for the stream to destroy this beast once at least. Okay, and maybe later we'll jump into a modern video game to show you where we are today. Okay. It's tough without the gravity because you don't have a way to like to basically use the gravitational field to dodge the enemy's. Oh. Cloak here. I wonder if you can shoot the torpedoes with your laser. I think you can. There we go. Let's keep it going. Boom. Okay, he's. I'm gonna have trouble with this. Okay. Let's keep going. Slowly, I'll remember the keys. Have to use this mechanic that you get from the top of the screen. Cross over to the other side. I'm trying to talk while playing these games at the same time can be difficult. Oh, one thing I'm curious about is does the laser director it points always to the center of my ship's pointed, right? Let's see. I think more or less yes. Alright, let's keep at it. I want to beat this computer here, okay? And then later we're going to jump to a modern game. I don't know if it's going to be in the same stream or later tonight, but later this afternoon, I mean, in the fly and chat. But we'll see, okay? Maybe I have to use my cloak. We played this many hours against each other, it was tough. But then we would take a break and we would play Double Dragon 2 for the PC. And that was cooperatively, so we weren't going against each other, that's more fun. Come on, I pressed the wrong button, alright. The name of the gods. Oh, almost. I got some good hits there. It's much better at using the laser than I am. Here we go, here we go. Go. Let's try to hit him with these floating torpedoes. Here we go. Let's try to stay. Oh, stay out of his line of fire. Somebody's gonna come behind me now because up there because of the. It takes a while for you to get used to this. To the screen. I don't know if there's a name for this. When you get to one side of the screen, you appear on the other one. Okay, that was closer. I almost got him. Right, his shields are low. Alright, hello fourth viewer. I'm doing Spacewar here. This is a 1985 version, which is the first remake of the original version. If I press this little button here, you can see the original version. Since you just arrived, I'll go back to this briefly to show you what the first ever computer game used to look like in this emulation of a PDP-1 computer over at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And basically it was this big like room-sized computer, okay? It has like a giant cabinet, like a sort of wardrobe, and a giant keyboard. I have a little picture of it there. You can go to read about it if you go on Spacewar, and you type in that into your computer keyboard right now, or you touch it on your phone and then press on these god's-forsaken devices. You can go and read about it. But okay, let's go. Let's see how this works. Okay. All right. So the 1961 version, there's no AI, so it's just I'm controlling both shits at the same time here. There's the gravitational field, and I can cloak, and I think it's a jump. I don't think it's a cloak. And this is how it looked. Okay. It's simulated CRT. But the more fun one that I was playing is the first one that I actually played, because I'm I was born in the late 1970s. I was on Live 961, and that's for IBM PC. And that one you can play against AI, which I was trying to do before. And it was designed. This video game was designed. If you read the Wikipedia page, there's an interesting thing that they mention about it there. It was designed to be fun to play, but also interesting to watch. Apparently, I don't know if this is going to fly in the Twitch streaming days here compared to these video games today. There's so many keys, there's so much data, there's so much going on the screen, there's so many buttons that it's crazy. You lose track. Okay, so but just if you imagine like a bunch of people huddled around a computer and two people that are pretty good playing the game and trying to hit each other. You can imagine that that's you're having a piece of pizza, maybe a beer, or some coffee, and apparently they had problems with these computer people just spending all their time playing the video game instead of doing doing their papers or whatever you're supposed to do in university. Okay, so it's close to my heart, because when I went to university I spent a lot of time playing this other game called Subspace that I am going to stream at some point. Still available. I think you can get it on Steam even. Which is basically a multiplayer version of this kind of thing. It's a little top-down space shooter, but with many people playing at the same time online, and little gravitational mechanics and cloaking mechanics and all this stuff. That there you go, I got it. Let's go now to press the button, and let's go back to 1985 and to play the one that I played. Okay, this is running on DOSBox. It's an emulator. I'm trying to get this robot here so that it's going to be different. The keys that I'm going to have to use. Toma! That was close. That was close. Okay, I'm getting closer there, but it's difficult. See, so I can turn off the robot here. And I can turn on the planet, and I can turn on gravity as well. And I can put play, and then you can see that there's gravity and there's a planet. In this case, a Jupiter or a moon. I imagine it's Jupiter. And I can try to control both ships here to try to keep moving. Like one hand on the number keys of the keyboard, and the other hand on the WASD keys. Okay, because these games were not designed for internet play. They were designed for to play together on one machine. And if I turn off the planet, I'll give you a better demonstration, because then I won't die so easily. But you can turn on the gravitational field, and this you could either play against the computer or against a friend. And I like the little design of the spaceships. How one it's a little almost like a little sort of half moon TIE fighter thing. This one that I'm firing the lasers is now, and the other one is more like a sort of an A-wing. Like little half moon the other way, and it really brings very warm memories of playing this on a 286 or 386 with my friend. Okay, I'm controlling both at once right now. You also have a jump key, You also have a cloak key to hide. Okay, and all this takes energy on the bottom of the screen. Alright, let's go back here and let's try that robot again. F3. And first I want with no gravity. I wanna take him out of no gravity. Then I'm gonna with gravity, and then with gravity and the planet. I think I'm gonna have an easier time to have gravity in the planet because maybe I can do some maneuvers and make him crash instead of robot 3. Okay, play. Is it not working anymore? Is there a problem here? Because, oh, okay, never mind. Robot left is, no, it's not robot 3, that's F3, okay, it's robot right, because I have the left side of the keyboard here, okay, play. Alright, let's go, let's try it. Oh, he's doing some jump maneuvers, alright. Firing a lot of floating torpedoes I have to navigate around. Okay, let's try to get, okay, I managed to do a little boom and zoom pass on him there. Alright. Okay. It's kind of like a crazy version of asteroids. Competitive version of asteroid. Okay. Go! Damn. So close. So close. You can only shoot so many at once before your energy goes out, and then you have to wait till your energy recharges before you can shoot more. So I'm not waiting. I'm just, when I see I'm seeing some hits on him, I just try to go too fast. I should have a bit more patience and try to really dodge his missiles. Okay. And I have to become better at my laser shots, although I have to admit I prefer the laser. Oh, it's close. Let's hide a little bit with my cloaking device. The problem is when you're cloaking, you don't know where you are either, okay? Okay, I am gonna get this. Alright, F2 again. You can download this application called DOSBox, which is a game emulator, and you can play this yourself. Just look for Spacewar 1985 and you'll be able to find it. I don't remember there's a way for me to recharge the shields. I don't think there is. There's not like any sort of power up that appears and can let you recharge the shields all of a sudden. Got me with the laser. I like that. I like how it freezes the screen and shows you killed. It's almost like the PUBG winner chicken dinner type things, All right. This is the first ever version of Space. The first ever ported version of the original Space. This was IBM PC. The other one was PDP-1. Oh, we're not doing good here. Trying to talk too much and play this. It's a very annoying like alarm. I have Chopin in the background. I should make it a little louder, but maybe it's okay. If it's not, please let me know. Okay, some good hits there. No, let's not get carried away. Let's get away from him. Okay. So you got some good hits on me too. And that laser changes range depending on the orientation, I think. Ah! Okay. I want to do a 1-2 boss when I beat this. Alright. Okay, come on. No. Come on. Whoa, that was so close. Okay, if I had hit him with one more shot, okay? That's the strategy as if you played Doom, okay? I remember in Doom 3, once there was this monster that I was playing with my brother. We would take turns, and we couldn't beat this monster, and it was this monster that came out of this door. And eventually, instead of shooting it, we just went right up to it. We took out the chainsaw and just cut it, and then we beat it. So sometimes you just have to go in with a shotgun or a chainsaw close up, and that's what I was doing there in that situation. Generally in video games, I like staying more distant and taking my time, but sometimes you have to go in with everything you got. There's no other option, alright? Funny thing is there's no back in this, so there's only thruster only goes one direction, and to go back you basically have to turn. Maybe I should be using jump more, but jump uses energy. Let's try it. Oh. It not only uses energy, but it basically resets your movement. Because when you're moving, you keep moving. If you turn on gravitation, right? So the jump kind of resets that, but it does lose energy. Oh! Okay, good shot. I keep trying. If I get it, I'm gonna do a 1-2 boss, okay? Eventually in the future I want to be able to gift things in the stream and stuff like that. Right now I can't, but I hope I'll be able to. I would say something like, okay, if I get this, I'll gift this or that. I don't even know how that works. I'm a newbie at streaming. Alright, I'm gonna keep at it. In the 1985 version of Spacewar for IBM PC, ported from the PDP-1. And made into this wonderful HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML and JavaScript emulation that you can play in your browser if you go to the link that I've put on the Twitch chat here. You have to lower the volume of the game and so it's not so annoying. You can use more Chopin. Maybe I'll try to do that in a little bit, okay? I had no more energy to fire missiles. Close again, close, alright. Ah! It's almost like a Zen thing. If you try not to hit something, you will hit it, you know? You have to like sort of not think about it. I think that's a Zen thing. I'm talking about Zen things and I keep getting destroyed by this AI from 1985, okay? But games were harder back then. I mean, they are hard now in different ways. There's more commands and stuff like that. And they are challenging games still, of course. But games are very punishing. Keep at it. Thanks for joining me, my 4 viewers. I'm doing this for you, and my bosses, and for myself as well, because I love video games, but... Okay, my own missiles here. Maybe I should just spray a bunch of missiles everywhere and just try to dodge it. Okay, the next one I'm going to concentrate on not getting hit at all. Okay, let's spend a little time without shooting and just concentrate on not getting hit. I think that's not the best way to usually need to be aggressive in these types of games. But just to practice flying a little bit. Practice shooting with the laser. What is that? He's perfect with the laser. This or she. Okay, the best I've been able to do is get him one shot away from dying. Maybe I'll try a different technique. I'm gonna try to cloak myself and then attack him. Okay. My shields went down so fast. He really hit me that amount of times, even though I was cloaked. Okay. So another thing you see, he has more shields than this opponent here has more shields than I do. So he started at a disadvantage. You see on the right side, maybe I have to wait. Maybe this is a World War II fighter pilot tactic to wait to the enemy, the opponent to get tired. So he's shooting a lot, he's using his energies, okay? And then once his energy is down, then I attack. Maybe that's a different strategy to try over here. Let's try it. Because my current strategy is not working at all. I'm going to try to keep away from it, kind of like a Muhammad Ali strategy, okay? That didn't work, but I'm practicing. It's been many years since I played this. I'm doing my best, okay? Ah. Ah. A lot of okay, damn. In the name of Lord Henry. Okay, let's go. In the hour, play an independently developed video game, usually by passion, by either a single person or a very small team. First video game from 1961, Spacewar. The version I'm currently playing in 1985 for the PC. Wow. I'm gonna keep at it. I'm not gonna give up, okay? I want to win here against this computer player too. Maybe afterwards I'll do. And this I think it's tougher without the gravitational field. I may eat my words later because maybe it's even harder with the gravitational field, and then the gravitational field and the planet, maybe it's even harder there. He got me while I was cloaked, so you can get hit when you're cloaked. That's interesting to know. Okay. F2. Let's go again. I'm gonna just try to do a hard passing. Didn't work. Wow. So bad at this. Okay, keep going, keep going. I'm not gonna give up. Keep hitting myself with my own missiles. Is there a way for me to gain more energy, I wonder? Or is it all I have? I would think there'd be one way, but... And I wonder if it gets even tougher as time goes on, or I just get worse. Oh, here we go. Okay, that was pretty good. Go, go, go! Come on! Press the wrong button. Okay, I got him. Alright. Okay. Hello, fifth viewer. Right now, I'm going to press this button here. This is the first ever space game. 1961, made at MIT for the PDB-1 computer. You can see a picture of it on top left there. And I was playing 1985 version. It's going to be a little repetitive for the other viewers on my stream, but I just want to try to welcome everyone with a, whenever someone arrives. So show them this very first computer game that was played on a video game that was played on a video computer screen. Displayed CRT monitors. I think it was a radar screen. I don't know, oscilloscope it's called. I think that you can see electronic patterns transmitted, and it was used like I think maybe it was developed for radar. That was the first application. I'm not sure. It looks like a radar screen. I think it was beep, 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 like an air traffic controller or a missile director. it was during the Cold War, you know, very difficult years. I mean, people think times now are tough sometimes, and of course, for many people, they are very tough. But you know, back then there was some tough times too. You know, we were very afraid of getting hit by a nuclear warhead, and these games came from that time. And the 1961 version, there's no AI, so I can't fight anyone. I'm flying both ships at the same time here. The gravity well is noticeably stronger in the 1961 version, and for some reason I'm not being able to use the thrusters of my other ship. I can only activate the thrusters of the ship. Maybe it's a bug. Okay, so now let's go back to you can read about it and you can play this yourself by clicking on the link on the chat up there, masswork.at. Spacewar by this gentleman called Norbert Landsteiner over in Vienna, and you can see like all the different stuff he's put together, like this nice little piece of paper, like all properly aligned. This is you had to like type in commands, you know, and the computer would print them out for you and stuff. So you can actually select this. It's a very well designed web page here. On that link you can see some design documents, all this sort of stuff. Apparently there's a 2015 version of the emulator, but I haven't seen that. But what I'm playing right now, if I press my other key here, is the 1985 version for PC. Is the first one I played with my friend Arthur in São Paulo, Brazil. Okay, let me get back to my DOSBox thing. I'm playing this emulator called DOSBox. You can download it. Let me see if I can find it here. DOSBox. All right. I'll put the link there for you as well, so you can take a look at this. You can look at this for yourself if you want. Okay, and then you have to go to 985 Spacewar, and you'd be able to download it in one of these websites. This is where I got it from here. Well, you just have to do a Google search. I'm gonna I'll put the Google search there, and you can decide where you want to download it from. Okay, and the one I'm gonna play now is this one. It's the one that I just managed to, for the first time, destroy the enemy ship. Okay, now let's try out the planet. So now I have the robot on the right side here, and I'm gonna press F5, turn on the planet. So wait, where am I? DOSBox. Okay, there's so many. You have to stream. You learned how to be a video producer. So press all these buttons and different things appear on your screen. It's pretty crazy. Okay, I pressed F5. The planet's there now. I'm gonna press F2 to play. And okay, so now there's a planet between us. Okay, now it's a little Jupiter. Oh, okay. The AI didn't do so good. He just crashed into the planet. Let's try again. Maybe the AI has no collision detection of the planet. Oh, now he didn't. Maybe he just made a mistake, so I already won once, so that's good. Alright, he's in trouble now. Yeah, wow, okay, so this is probably a commentary on, you know, the AI skill of he has more trouble if there's a planet. Yeah, he just goes right into it. Wow, interesting. Okay. Let's try to put gravity on. I'm gonna turn on gravity, F6. And with the planet. Let's see how that goes. So now we got both getting pulled to the planet. This gravity. Oh, now I hit it. Okay. I'm gonna try to just dodge him and not fire, and just see if he just keeps crashing. Barely misses it there. And jump. Okay. The gravitational field is not as fast as strong as in the original, but it's still there. Yeah, he's hurting now. He has trouble with that planet. Wow, interesting. Okay, now let's try. Now let's disable the planet again, but leave gravity on, and let's see how that works out. Okay. All right. Let's see how he handles shooting at me with gravity turned on. I'm just gonna try to keep getting away from him. I'll use my laser if he's close. Very hard to hit with the laser in this because you have to be kind of right. If you aim up, it seems like now I'm in trouble. Up! You got me, okay. So if there's no planet in the center, he has a better time. This opponent has a better time. The collision detection of the planet that this particular version of Spacewar, the AI has trouble with. It's probably open source. You can probably take a look at the source code somewhere. I mean, you can look at the Apollo. The cool thing about sites like GitHub and GitLab and this version control sites these days, you can basically go and look at the source code of the lunar lander, of the lunar module, the source code that people like Margaret Hamilton wrote. I think it was the chief programmer in the mission, if I remember correctly. And you can see code from this old software, how it was done, what kind of programming was done back in the 60s to do things like putting a person on the moon and getting us there with the orbits. It's really a wonderful time to be alive, to be able to play so many different video games from different eras, from the latest ones with the most cutting edge graphics. Like I played some Star Citizen yesterday, even though it's an alpha, it looks like you're playing a movie basically. To the very first one, according to Wikipedia list, the very first video games. Carl Sagan spoke about this video game, and I can read a little quotation of in this book. Carl Sagan was this physicist. He was the lead, I think, one of the lead people, and he was basically one of the greatest one of the greatest teachers, not just science, but the greatest teachers I think we've had in the world, and was a popularizer of science. And he wrote the following about video games. Okay, I'm going to quote here extensively. And this was in his book called The Dragons of Eden, won the Pulitzer Prize in 1977. So I'm going to read a bit about, maybe let's go back to the original Spacewar here running on the browser, because this is the one that he was speaking about, okay? It was before the version that was playing, the 1985 version. This is the version that he was talking about. Oh, did I shoot? Oh yeah, okay. I'm just going to keep moving the spaceship around while I, let me reload this page actually, because it seems to be some sort of bug with this emulation here that I couldn't use the thruster. Okay, so I'm gonna keep read this. All right, this is Carl Sagan in The Dragons of Eden. Where are my notes? Page 153 to 154. Okay. Computer graphics are now being extended into the area of play. There is a popular game sometimes called Pong, which simulates on a television screen a perfectly elastic ball bouncing between two surfaces. Each player is given a dial that permits him to intercept the ball with a movable racket. Points are scored if the motion of the ball is not intercepted by the racket. The game is very interesting. There's a clear learning experience involved, which depends exclusively on Newton's second law for linear motion. As a result of Pong, the player can gain a deep intuitive understanding of the simplest Newtonian physics, a better understanding even than that provided by billiards, where the collisions are far from perfectly elastic and where the spinning of the pool balls interposes more complicated physics. This sort of information gathering is precisely what we call play. Okay, and this is a part that I highlighted here. And the important function of play is thus revealed. It permits us to gain, without any particular future application in mind, a holistic understanding of the world, which is both a complement of and preparation for later analytical activity. So he's talking about how play, including computer games, is a great way to learn, and it's complementary to analytical activities, of solving equations and reading and figuring things out and putting them in tables. Okay? But computers permit play in environments otherwise totally inaccessible to the average student, like outer space. Okay, this is a very basic thing of simulation of outer space in Spacewar, but it already, there's the gravitational equation there that you get closer to that thing and you move faster. Like if I get my little ship here, let's try to get a little closer to this little moving, this little simulated star in the middle. It's a very slow simulation. Let's see if we can speed it up here. Double the speed, okay. This is double the speed of the original one, okay. So just to give you a sense for, I'm gonna try to get close here to the star, and you can see how it twists around to show you how gravity works in the real world. Okay, Okay, so you have to move it, twist you around. But the closer you are to it, the closer, the faster you go, which is really strange. It's like having like a heavy ball in an elastic piece of cloth. It's one of our classic demonstrations of graphic. So I'm going to try to fly really close to it, and you see what happens with the spaceship. This is demonstrated also in Elite Dangerous. Oh, I crashed though. I want to get close. Okay, let's try again. The thrusters are malfunctioning in the other spaceship. For some reason, like I lose the. I don't know if it's my Mac keyboard connected to my PC computer here, but I lose the thruster in one of them when I'm using both hands to control both of them at the same time. Okay, this is looking like a better. Oh, and it crashed. Okay. Wow. All right, let's try again. Come on. Oh, I have to reload the browser real quick. I mean, JavaScript and browsers, there's a lot of potential things that can go wrong. Okay, here we go. I want to try to get close to that starfleet to see the little twist of that gravitational motion here. And then I'll keep reading because there's some more that I want to read from Sagan here. All right, go, 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 go. There you go. Okay, so that's what happens. You go get there, and then that's what they talk about when you're using, if you want to fire a spaceship to Mars, for example, you have to catapult it around to make it get there faster. You catapult it around another orbiting body, because when it gets close to an orbiting body, you speed up because it's pulling at you. It's pulling, the spaceship is getting pulled to this orbital body, so you have a little, a NASA little matchbox, I think it's a matchbox, little spaceships. When it's getting closer, the closer it gets, the fastest it gets, and when it gets really close, if it just misses it, it catapults it, so it goes really faster, which is a really counterintuitive thing. Unless you're playing a computer game, and then you can actually see, and this is how things really work. What's up? I put the soup in the pot for you already, and I put the other one away. Lovely, so because you had to eat early, okay. Yeah, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. If you want more, there's soup in the fridge. Okay. Thanks so much. My the dishwasher is dirty. Don't put stuff in. Okay, I'm not supposed to. I'm not a fully automated dishwasher machine myself, but today I'm not supposed to wash the dishes because we're going to utilize this wonderful American invention called a dishwasher that I'm not very familiar with. I use it as to put like my dirty plates, my clean plates. I wash them and then I use the dishwasher as a rack. But today, my companion here is saying that we should just use the dishwasher because the dishwasher is so we haven't used it in a long time. It's a little dirty. Okay, back to Spacewar, back to orbits and mechanics and stuff. If you want to play a game that you really learn about orbital mechanics, I'm gonna put okay, if you're interested in this stuff, okay, you want to play this game here. Okay, it's called Kerbal Space Program, and this will teach you about orbital mechanics. There's this guy called Randall Munro, okay, that writes this wonderful blog called XKCD, a web comic of romance, sarcasm, math, and language. Okay, yeah, I can put him on here in the browser real quick while we're XKCD orbital mechanics. Okay, let's see if this shows up on my stream here, and I'll move it to the right here. So okay, how well I understand orbital mechanics. Took high school physics. Okay, got physics degree. You understood a little bit better. Actual job at NASA. This guy worked at NASA. Okay, as a programmer, I think. And then started playing Kerbal Space Program. All right, and that's a demonstration of what video games can do to your understanding of things. Okay, it'll do other different things from your time, and often the funny thing about this website, wonderful thing about this website, if you hover over, this won't work if you're using one of these God's forsaken mobile phones, but if you use a mouse on the computer and you leave it on it, there's a little bit of a hover thing, and it gives you little messages that add to it that you should go in and read. So I'll put this in the chat too, okay? And you can go read about that. It's one of my favorite comics from this person, Randall Murrow, and he wrote this book called what was it? Thing Explainer, which is a great book. Okay, you should go check that out. You'll be able to find it on his website. Okay, so let me finish reading. I wasn't finished with my Carl Sagan quote here because now he talks about Spacewar. It's not just about Pong. Okay, Pong was like in the 70s. I think it was 77 maybe. That was an Atari on this big cabinet with the huge like the controllers and the buttons that people smashed in. And everyone used to get together and play video games together in a room full of other video games. Oh, it's Nightbot. Okay, it's nobody else. So this is my moderator. my AI assistant. Okay, so see, these days I was playing an AI here on the 98.5 version of not Star Citizen, of Spacewar, but I have an AI Nightbot that's helping me. So hopefully soon we'll be able to have computers that can help us do other things as well, and maybe even be better leaders. Although you know we don't want Skynet, have to watch out for that. Okay, back to Carl Sagan. I'm talking too much. Oh, I'm at an hour. Okay, so I should be finishing soon, but let me finish with this. I'll finish with this, quoting at length Carl Sagan in The Dragons of Eden here. A still more interesting example is provided by the game Spacewar, whose development and delight have been chronicled by Stuart Brand. In Spacewar, each side controls one or more space vehicles which can fire missiles at each other. The motions of both the spacecraft and the missiles are governed by certain rules. Okay, I'm shooting. I got him. Okay, with my right hand, I'm shooting here while I'm reading this. Okay, the motions of both the spacecraft and the missiles are governed by certain rules. For example, an inverse square gravitational field set up by a nearby planet. To destroy the spaceship of your proponent, you must develop an understanding of Newtonian gravitation that is simultaneously intuitive and concrete. Those of us who do not frequently engage in interplanetary spaceflight do not readily evolve a right hemisphere comprehension of Newtonian gravitation. Spacewar can fill that gap. So what he's talking about a right hemisphere comprehension of Newtonian gravitation is, you know, our brains has two sides to it. The right side is usually the creative side, and it connects to your left hand, right? And the left side is usually the analytical and connects to your right hand. Okay, so he's saying that we can evolve a more creative, a more like intuitive, creative understanding without reading about numbers. Some people can look at equations and really imagine how things are moved based on the equations, but you know, most people, if they see something move and they can control the movement, they'll get a more intuitive understanding. Okay, and he continues. The two games, Pong and Spacewar. So it's still like still Nightbot. Okay. The two games, Pong and Spacewar, suggest a gradual elaboration of computer graphics so that we gain an experiential and intuitive understanding of the laws of physics. The laws of physics are almost always stated in analytical and algebraic, that is to say, left hemisphere terms. For example, Newton's second law is written F equals ma, and the inverse square law of gravitation is F equals gm lowercase m divided by r to the power of 2, okay? These analytical representations are extremely useful, and it is certainly interesting that the universe is made in such a way that the motion of objects can be described by such relatively simple laws. But these laws are nothing more than abstractions from experience. Fundamentally, they are mnemonic devices. They permit us to remember in a simple way a great range of cases that would individually be much more difficult to remember, at least in the sense of memory as understood by the left hemisphere. Computer graphics gives the prospective physical or biological scientist a wide range of experience with the cases his laws of nature summarize. But its most important function may be to permit those who are not scientists to grasp in an intuitive but nevertheless deep manner what the laws of nature are about. Okay, almost done. There are many non-graphical interactive computer programs which are extremely powerful teaching tools. The programs can be devised by first-rate teachers, and the student has, in a curious sense, a much more personal one-to-one relationship with the teacher than in the usual classroom setting. He may also be as slow as he wishes without fear of embarrassment. Dartmouth College employs computer learning techniques in a very broad array of courses. For example, a student can gain a deep insight into the statistics of Mendelian genetics in an hour with a computer rather than spend a year crossing fruit flies in the laboratory. So he's talking about like here how simulation games, like for example, I know SimCity, okay, or Civilization, you can get an understanding of history or you know, urban planning much more quickly than you would if you had to actually, you know, spend a lot of time doing it. I mean, I don't think it's saying that you shouldn't do it, because ultimately by doing stuff is how you ultimately learn. But some things are risky to do. So if you can practice them on a computer, you know, that's like a fighter pilot is not gonna go in and always practice on fly an airplane. It costs a lot of money. It's dangerous. Okay, they're gonna practice on the computer as well. All right, almost done. Another student can examine the statistical likelihood of becoming pregnant were she to use various birth control methods. This program has built into it a 1 in 10 billion chance of a woman's becoming pregnant when strictly celibate to allow for contingencies beyond present medical knowledge. It's a little bit of a joke. He's saying that, you know, he's making a bit of a fun of the Virgin Mary there. I don't know if you get that, but you know, I like Carl Sagan a lot. If you might hate him, but I do recommend you read at least Cosmos, or at least watch the series, even the latest one with I get a blank on his name often for some reason. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's here in New York City in the Museum of Natural History. Okay, so all right, 5 years. Thanks for joining me in on this hour little demonstration of the 1961, the first ever version of Spacewar here that I'm demonstrating on a website that you can click on the links up here in masswork.at. Spacewar. Thanks so much for Mr. Norbert Landsteiner over in Vienna to make this wonderful website that we can play the game. Thanks for the Chopin Waltzes by Antonio Barbosa that you can find in archive.org. So maybe I can turn off this thing so you can see his where is that? That's the person that was playing the piano earlier. I'll put him on over here so you can hear it while we're logging off here. Thanks also to my followers, my latest subscriber Malcon GA, my latest Cheers Bad Mojo 11 yesterday, my latest follower Bushwolf 123, whoever you are. And yeah, go out there, go to archive.org, type in video games, early video games. Later today, I'm probably gonna play Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can see some of the cutting edge simulations we have now. You can actually fly an airplane around the Earth. Okay, and that's all. So thanks so much for dropping by. I'm going to log off now, and I'm gonna take a break. And I'll be back at, let me take a look at my schedule here. Probably, I think it's 2 in the afternoon. Keep talking. Yeah, fly and chat 2 in the afternoon. Alright, thanks very much for viewing. Un bacione a tutti. Lots of love from New York City.